Hello. No, I gotta fix the screen here. My name is Sharon Jakubecy Klehm, and today I'm going to lead you through a class I'm calling Finding Your Legs to Free Your Neck. If we're not aware of our legs, or maybe we lock our legs, our neck gets really tight. But when we're more aware of our legs and let our legs do more of the work, the neck can release, shoulders can release, the low back can release. So we're going to start strong today, and then spend a lot of time, we'll work our way down to the ground and spend a lot of time really soothing the nervous system, connecting to our breath, and releasing any unnecessary tension. Let's start in mountain pose. Oh, and of course, if anything doesn't feel good, don't do it. Definitely let me know, and I can always give you options. So we're going to start in Tadasana, and we want to have our ankles underneath our hip joints and our shoulder joints, which are actually in the back, not in the front, over our hip joints. So we're stacking in Tadasana in mountain pose. And just this little rotation of the hands pointing forward allows for some openness to the chest. And maybe just moving your feet a little bit on the floor so you really feel that contact. When we have a strong awareness of our feet, we can let all of the work we're doing up here drop down through our legs, onto the feet, and onto the floor. And then taking a couple moments to notice that your body is breathing you. You do not need to force or control it. As you let breath out, the softening of the jaw and the shoulders. The air comes in, the entire torso is massaged by the in-breath. And letting go of some holding on your out-breath. Maybe it's the jaw, maybe it's in the glutes, maybe it's around the knees if you lock your knees. And then we're going to sweep our arms out and up, reaching overhead. You're going to grab your right hand with your left and stretch over to your left. Really staying aware of your legs and your feet so that you don't sink. Reaching up to come up. Also, what you can do here is actually have a little baby bend in your knees. That will also help to protect your low back. And then taking the left hand with the right. So I have a little baby bend here to take care of my back. As we reach over to the right. And we're going to do a baby back bend, but allowing this sort of buoyancy in the legs. So we don't want to stand with locked legs. Little micro bend. And you're going to let your arms open out to the side. So arms are low for this little back bend. The shoulder blades move towards one another. And then taking the arms up. We're going to reach behind ourselves. So clasping your hands behind your back. And once again, slight bend in the knees. Maybe a little bit more of an open stance. That will also help take pressure off of the back. And then your legs will do more of the work. So we're going to bend at the hip joints. We're actually in the tush. And your abdominal wall can come onto your thighs. Reaching the knuckles up towards the ceiling. So don't worry about reaching over your head. Just up towards the ceiling to open the chest. You can let the hands come back down to the floor or to your thighs. So if you have your hands on your knees, that will also help protect the low back as you reach the back of your head across the room for a nice big half lift. And forward fold. It is not cheating if your knees are bent. It's actually much better for your back. And placing your hands on the mat, fingers are spread wide, and you're going to reach back with your right leg Reach back with your left leg for some plank. Waking up the abdominal wall. Pushing the floor away with your palms. Rotating the eye of the elbow forward. And we definitely don't want to let the low back sink down at all. So the low back is coming up towards the ceiling. And then let your knees float to the floor. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And we'll push down into the floor for cat. Really letting the back of the neck hang. So the back of your neck is long. Curling the spine up. And then starting to look out. Extending the spine. Letting the belly drop down towards the floor as you go into cow. And just listening to your back here. And then pushing down to go back into cat. Pairing it with an out breath. Letting the movement be loose so that you're not clenching either cat or cow position. As you push down the low back, the mid back rounds up. You can also do this a little bit side to side, looking at the sides here. Really important that your belly button is moving towards your low back. That will help your low back feel better and more supported. So movement in cat-cow is supported by breath, fueled by your breath. You can make circles with the hips and the head here, just listening to what feels good. And maybe even taking the whole torso in circles. Listening to what feels nice. So as you go into cat, that really opens the low back, stretches the low back. You can send the hips back just a little bit and reach further away, 10th fingertips. And then you can reach through the left armpit, reach through the right armpit. So you're opening up all those big muscles that connect your arm through your low back to your pelvis, your latissimus dorsi muscles. Belly to spine. And then let's go back to child's pose with active arms. So you're pushing through your entire palm, especially the ball of the hand where the pointer finger is, so you're not tensing your arms up. Here in child's pose, the movement of your breathing is also massaging your low back. And then walking your hands over to your right. You can place your right hand on top of your left. So the latissimus dorsi muscles, the quadratus lumborum muscles on the left side, get a little opening. And then walking your hands back to center. And then over to the left, placing your left hand on top of your right hand. And then reaching back with your right sits bones. That will lengthen all of these big muscles through the sides of the torso. And let's come back to center. Coming forward to tabletop. So as you push down through your palms, then your spine doesn't sink, and that will create a little collapse in the low back. But if I push down through my palms, my whole spine sort of puffs up towards the ceiling. And then my low back is more neutral. I can wag my tail. And you're gonna reach your right leg back. Reach your left leg back. eye of the elbow pointing forward, pushing into the hands to send the hips up for downward dog. So the first joint of the pointer finger is making strong contact with the floor, but so is the pinky side of the palm. And then we're going to come up to the toes and let the heels move in the direction of the floor. We're waking up the calves here. Come up to the toes. And letting your heels find the ground or as close as possible. Coming up to the toes. And then you can walk your dog. This is really nice for waking up the feet, waking up the arches, waking up the ankles and the calves. And then you can come up to your toes and rotate your heels over to the left. That will open the right side. And rotate your heels over to the right, left. And then walking forward. So wide, a little bit of a wider stance to protect the low back. And here, little ragdoll. Letting your belly rest on your thighs. Maybe shaking the head yes and no. Really, as you let the head dangle, the neck muscles can release. You can sway a little bit side to side. So to roll up from here, you're going to let your hips shift back and down. You can bring your elbows to your knees as you start to come up. So bring your hands to your knees. Back to Tadasana. Now, if we overdo it in Tadasana and pull the shoulder blades too far together, that throws the low back forward and we compress the low back. So the low back and the belly button are still back in space, even though the palms are facing forward. We'll do that one more time. So you're going to reach out and up. So really nice to reach out of the low back. Feeling your feet, being aware of your legs underneath you. Coming back up. So here, the load bearing is right through center and over the legs. And then you can stretch over to the second side. So we don't want to sink like that. We're on both legs. They're parallel. And then reaching up. We're going to swing the arms all the way down and around for a little back bend, almost like we're getting ready to do a swan dive. We'll watch the low back, so we don't want to throw the hips forward. Reaching down through our fingertips, opening the chest. We're going to reach behind ourselves. We're going to go into another forward fold here, so let's let the legs do the work as we go into the forward fold. So I like to call the ankles, knees, and hips the elevators of the body. So you're letting the ankles, knees, and hips fold to lower your torso onto your thighs. And then you can start to extend the legs, but you don't have to extend them all the way. Reaching the knuckles up to open the chest. Feeling your feet on the floor. You can let the hands slowly unlace, coming to the ground. And then either to the ground, to the shins, or even to the knees to half lift. So we're not letting the low backs fall down towards the floor. The belly button and the low back are floating in the direction of the ceiling. So this is also really nice. Take some pressure off of the low back. And then we can forward fold again. Really luxuriating in the out breath. We'll take the hands back onto the floor and step the left leg back and the right leg back. So the spine is coming up through the shoulder blades instead of sinking down. And then you can float your knees down. Doing some cat-cow paired with your breathing. So in cow, we want it to be more about the chest and the upper back, a little bit less about the low back. You can come a little bit forward and back. Or even side to side. So if you look over toward your right heel, your spine curves to the left. Looking over to the left heel, the spine curves to the right. And then maybe even some circles here. And then we'll step back to plank. One leg, and then the other leg. Oh, the other option too is just to stay on the knees. So like a plank from your knees. And then pushing back to downward dog. So going for the face coming as close to the floor, I don't think it's very supportive of the low back, so letting your downward dog be a medium downward dog. Your belly button floats in the direction of your back. You're pushing the floor away with your palms. Finding that V shape where the spine is long. If you feel like you don't have that V shape or the spine doesn't feel long or it feels like it's rounded through the upper back, you can bend the knees. And then walking your feet forward. So we have some options here. You can take the peace fingers around the big toes. And extending the spine. And then as you go deeper into the forward fold, really pulling your toes towards you, and pulling your upper body towards your toes. Loose, long neck. Notice your legs here. Notice the contact your feet have with the floor. And then you're going to let your knees fold. You can bring your elbows to your knees. And with your elbows and your knees, thinking of the sacrum, not tucking in under, think of the sacrum as being away from your ribs. And then you can come to your knees with your hands and then come all the way up to standing. Let's drop in, move into chair. So for you, you can go to prayer or cactus arms for chair. You can also do a bit of an upright chair. If that deeper chair where your knees doesn't feel nice, doing more of an upright chair with cactus arms or prayer arms. And then we're gonna reach up or extend down. And our side stretch. Noticing both feet and both legs. So you're not leaning off. You're on both legs and then reaching up and over. And coming back. The knees can be a little soft here as well. That will also help the low back. And then reaching up. So from here, you're going to step back to a warrior one. Right leg steps back, and your back foot is on a 45-degree angle. You want to really use the outside of the foot on the right side to ground yourself. From here, we're going to reach the left fingertips back for revolved warrior. And reaching those right fingertips forward, and that will open up the upper back. And then you're going to reach up with the right fingertips as the left fingertips maybe find the thigh behind you. Letting your left hand reach up and over for warrior one. Left knee is right on top of the right knee. You also can come to cactus here as well. Nice opening through the front of the right hip. We're going to take the arms up and open to warrior two. So in warrior two, sometimes feels like there might be a little adjustment for the legs, maybe heel to arch alignment, and you're reaching your arms away from one another. We're going to reach up for reverse warrior. Now, most people will take this into a back bend. I actually think it's really nice to reach straight up towards the ceiling. So you get all this opening through the left side. And then you're going to come back to warrior two. And you're going to bring your left elbow to your left thigh and swing the right arm underneath. It's easier on the shoulder for side angle. There is one line from your right fingertips to your right heel. So we don't want to sink down like this, pushing into the left elbow. There's that one like straight line through the legs, through the torso, and through the arm and the fingertips. We're going to look down and sending your gaze about 1.5 feet ahead. You can come to the fingertips of the right foot, the toe tips. And then we're going to go into a half moon. So reaching up with the right arm, the right fingertips. You can have a micro bend in your left knee and flexing strongly through the right heel. Having a block or a chair can be very helpful. And then you're going to look down and reach your right fingertips to the back of the mat. Your right toes. And come back up to warrior two. So hopefully we're waking up that left leg, and you're going to cartwheel your arms to the front of the mat. Stepping forward for a forward fold. Maybe shaking out that left leg. Okay, nice. To come up, letting the knees fold. So if you want to have that extra support, you can bring your elbows to your knees, then bringing your hands to your knees, and coming all the way up to standing or Tadasana. Let a breath out. And now we can try and keep our lips closed so we keep the heat in our body so we're more warm. We're going to reach out and up for extended mountain. Go to the right this time. Noticing your legs. And if you notice a tendency to lock the knees, a micro bend can be really nice. So I'm reaching up to come over. And reaching over to the left. Broader stance, so helpful. And as you reach up, we're going to step back. So I'm going to switch my directions. You're going to step back with your left foot for warrior one. Left foot is on a 45-degree angle. You're really grounding outside of the left foot, and the right knee is on top of the right ankle. You're going to swing your right arm behind you for revolve warrior. And definitely check that you're not letting your hips push forward of your upper back. That will crunch the low back. And then floating the left fingertips up as you reach for your left thigh with your right fingertips. So we're not going into any back bending here, just reaching out of the low back. And then swinging the right hand back up for warrior one. Opening up to warrior two. The back foot is still in that 45-degree angle. right knee is over the left. And check your knee that you don't let the knee come inside of the ankle. So it's right on top. As you reach through the fingertips strongly, that will open the chest. And then also allowing the shoulders to melt down away from your ears. We're going to reach the right fingertips up while the left fingertips find the thigh, the back thigh. And then reaching forward into side angle pose. So right elbow on top of the left thigh and swinging the arm from underneath for right angle. So we don't want to sink into that right shoulder, pushing down to the elbow so the neck is open, the shoulders, collarbones are away from the skull. And you can look up towards your left armpit if you like, or look straight ahead. Now you're going to take your gaze down about a foot ahead of your right foot. And then you're going to reach forward with your right fingertips to the floor, to a block, to a chair for half moon. Flexing strongly through the left foot. The left foot is pointing to the side. And maybe a little micro bend in the right leg. The tempting thing to do is to hold your breath, let breath out. On an out breath, you're going to reach your left toes towards the back of the mat. For warrior two. And let's cartwheel the arms. Around the right foot. Stepping the left foot forward for forward fold. And you can even maybe gently pat your low back here in forward fold and around the sacrum. We're going to come right up into chair. And I'm going to have to switch my direction so I'm facing the camera. So knees are folded. Hips width distance is more protective of the low back. And then either cactus or prayer or extended, what feels good for your body today. And then you're going to reach up for single leg mountain. You're going to bring your right ankle on top of your left knee for figure four. Now, if you're wobbly, that's totally fine. You can also have a wall next to you, a couch, chair, and maybe prayer hands here. Coming back up to single leg mountain. And you're going to bring your right leg behind you and grabbing the inside of the right ankle with your right hand. This might be enough. If you want to go further, you're going to kick the right heel behind you and reach forward. I'm going to be reaching through my plant here for dancer pose. So we're not lifting the right knee is dropping straight down. You're reaching straight ahead and then letting the knee meet the thigh, coming back down. Shaking out the left ankle and then stepping back for warrior one. We're going to reach behind us for revolved warrior. Bringing the left fingertips to the right thigh, reaching up. Strong legs, strong connection with your feet. Bringing the left hand back up for your warrior one. And then we'll open up into warrior two. The back foot is still in the 45-degree angle because otherwise that's too much pull on the pelvis and the low back. From here, we'll do reverse warrior. And then side angle, left knee to left thigh, watching that the knee is right on top of the ankle as you extend. One long line. We'll look down. Going to reach about a foot ahead of your left foot for half moon. Flexing the right foot strongly. Reaching up and out. Maybe you float your left fingertips. And then reaching your right foot back for warrior two. And we'll turn facing forward. Toes can be a little bit pointing out. Let's bring the hands to the waist. We're going to look up, allowing the sternum to extend up, but we don't want the hips to push forward. That protects the low back. And then you're going to come forward into forward fold. Back of the head is coming away from the sacrum. You can shake your head yes and no. Maybe even reaching your fingertips through your legs behind you. Walking the hands forward. And then you're going to take your right hand to your left ankle. And maybe taking your left hand towards your sacrum. And then pulling your torso closer to your left leg. Gently releasing. We'll switch to the other side, taking your left hand to your right ankle. You can leave your hand, your right hand on the floor, or put it up on top of your sacrum to hug your torso closer to your right leg. And coming back to center. You can fold your knees, let your hips come down. And then bringing your elbows to your knees. Coming all the way up. Here. We're going to go into horse pose. So heels are in, feet are out. And what's really important is, a lot of times in horse pose, people stick their tush out. We want to come down so that the head, the ribs are right over the hips. You can go into cactus arms here. Really want to watch that, where the tush comes back. I'd rather have you not go so far down and let the knees come forward so that the low back is long, just so the knees just come forward a little bit. Waking up the legs, waking up the thighs. And if you feel this in your low back, come out of it. It's no big deal. But if you feel it in your thighs, fantastic. Pushing down slowly, pushing down to the feet in order to come out of it. Nice. Let's come back to the top of the mat. I'm going to face the other direction now, so I can face you. Feet are hips width distance, and we'll come into another chair. So same thing here. It can be more of an upright chair where the low back is neutral. Reaching the arms up for prayer. We're going to push down through the feet, really feeling the work of the legs as you let the left knee float up for a single leg mount. Crossing the left ankle over the right knee for figure four. So we also want to watch not doing that over arch. the low back. Pushing down through the right foot. Let the right leg do the work to come back to single leg. Let your left thigh meet your right thigh. Taking the inside of the left ankle with your left hand. And you're going to push through your left knee. You're going to push back through your left knee for dancer pose as you reach forward, finding something as far away as possible to look at. Letting the knee point straight down towards the floor. And then coming out of it, shake that right leg out. We'll come back to single leg. And then reaching your left leg back for warrior one. Check the angle of your back foot. Check that your right knee is on top of your right ankle instead of inside or outside. And for warrior one, we're reaching back with the right hand. The twist is happening through the upper body. Floating the left fingertips forward as you find the back of your left thigh with your right fingertips. And then reaching the right fingertips back up for warrior one. And opening to warrior two. Warrior two, it's kind of easy just to hold a little shrug and have the arms and the shoulders higher than they need to be. So you can let them melt down, away from your ears. We'll do reverse warrior. Reaching up. So we won't do the back bend here to protect the low back. The belly button is coming in towards the back. And then side angle pose, right elbow to right thigh, swinging the arm around. And it's easy, especially if you get tired, to drop into the shoulder, pushing down through the right elbow. Going to look down about a foot ahead. Floating your fingertips forward about a foot ahead of your right foot for half moon. You can look out, you can look up, or you look down. Little micro bend on the right knee. You're gonna float your left toes to the back of the mat. Warrior two. We'll come up and come forward. We'll reach the hands behind us. So really taking the knuckles towards the floor. And then you can fold your knees to go into this forward fold in a straddle. And then from there, if your body says yes, if your back feels open, you can extend the legs, or you can just keep the bend here. Opening the chest. Feeling the work the legs are doing. You're not holding on with your neck. And then slowly letting the hands come apart. We'll come over to the right and lift the left toes up. This opens the inside of the left thigh. And then putting the left foot down, taking the hips over the right ankle and lifting the right toes. Bringing the right foot down. Let's walk over to the right foot. Step it forward. And we'll roll up. Slowly, letting the head hang, letting the neck be soft, letting the jaw be soft. or Tadasana. So notice how you're feeling. Yeah, that little bit of external rotation. We're going to come down to the floor now. And you can either roll through the spine to come down to the floor. So letting the knees bend forward, letting the head roll down. From here, in this balled up position, maybe reaching the arms forward. And then letting your seat find the floor. All right, how you doing? Good, awesome. So we're gonna start an easy seat. Now, of course, if you want a little bit of lift for underneath your hips, that can extend the spine. And we're gonna start with just some nice, easy shoulder stretches. So you'll bring your right arm across your body, letting the shoulders drop down. Letting the jaw also soften here. If the jaw is tight, the neck is tight. And then the shoulders lift up. And then from here, let's switch. Let's have you really do a big movement with the arms so that head and the spine are long over the pelvis. So bringing a little bit of flow to our stretches on the floor. And then on an out breath, you can swing both arms away from you. And then flipping the palms facing up. And let's just rest for a moment with the palms facing up. So we don't often sit like this. We're usually like this. So this orientation of the palms facing up really supports a long spine, supports the shoulders resting and releasing, and the abdominal wall is open instead of curled. And then you're going to reach out to the side and up. Now you have two options here. You can either just take the left hand and hug the elbow, or you can also reach the left hand behind you and maybe touch the fingertips. Maybe use a strap. So whatever your shoulders will allow for. Letting breath continue to massage your internal organs. And then as you gently, slowly let go, you're going to reach up first. And then reach the fingertips as far away from the spine as possible. And we'll switch sides. So you're going to take your left hand away from you, palm facing up. And then making an arc shape. And then letting the elbow fold. So same two options, either hugging the arm, the elbow with the right hand, or bringing the right hand under, grabbing. Now the thing we want to avoid though is curling forward in that shape. So our elbows are going up and down, the top of our head is going up, our seat's going down. And then slowly unwinding, reaching up first and then away from the spine, letting your arm be really long. When we're at the computer working all day, it's like we start walking around like we have Tyrannosaurus Rex arms. So here we're really letting ourselves have long arms, and that can help the neck and shoulders have a lot of release. Now we're going to do eagle arms. So you're going to take your right arm underneath your left and then fold the elbows. So a couple options here. You can just hold the shoulders, or bringing the backs of the wrists together, or winding the wrists around each other. And then you're going to lift the elbows away and a little up, opening up underneath the shoulder blades. Soften the jaw. No hard work in the shoulders, so we don't want to lift up. It's the elbows moving away and then up. And then you're going to round, bringing the elbows towards your belly button, rounding forward. Floating up through a fluid spine. Slowly unraveling. And let's reach the arms all the way up, away from us. Palms facing up. And then you can let the elbows rest down. And we'll do the other side. Reaching out, bringing the left arm underneath the right. Wrists together or wrapping the wrists around each other. So the elbows, while the elbows are going forward and up, the shoulders are going down. Your breath moves your armpits, your lungs and your armpits. And then bringing the elbows towards the belly button, rounding the spine. Floating back up, so we're in no hurry to get to the end of the movement. We're really taking our time in the transitions, unraveling the arms, and let's reach them out again. As far away from center as possible, palms facing up. And then letting the elbows soften down, palms facing the ceiling as they rest on your thighs. Now you're going to take your ear, your right ear towards your right shoulder, but we don't want to lift the right shoulder up to meet the ear. You can put the right hand on the floor and then reach your left fingertips away, out to the side. So it doesn't have to be a very big movement here for it to be a strong sensation. Maybe letting the chin come down a little bit and reaching the fingertips a little bit forward so that gets more of the back of the neck. And then pushing into the right hand to float the head up. So you don't do anything sudden and jolting through the neck. And then we'll let the left hand find the floor. You're going to take your left ear towards your left shoulder, reaching the right hand away. And this could be a strong enough sensation. And then letting the chin come down a little bit as you reach a little bit forward, getting the back of the neck. Pushing into the left hand to gently and slowly float your head up. So we don't want to do anything fast like that with the neck. Take a moment. Let the mouth have space, let the jaw have a little length. And now you're going to take your right hand behind your back. And you're going to take your right hand and your left hand and hug it around your left hip. And then from here, taking your left ear away from your right shoulder or towards your left shoulder. So this gets more of the front. Mouth is soft, a little bit of space in the mouth. When we clench our mouth and our jaw, we tighten our neck. But almost like a drool. And letting the head float up, slowly, gently. Let the arms unravel. Let's bring the left hand behind. Taking it with the right. Hug it around to the right hip. And taking the right ear towards the right shoulder. And then it's also really tempting to sort of fall onto the right sits bone. So keeping that contact with those sits bones. Pushing down through the sits bones to come back up to neutral. Letting the right arm, the left arm unwrap. We'll bring the knees up. And you're going to hug your knees and let your head rest on your knees. So this is really nice for the upper back. Letting your breath move your upper back. So most of your lungs are in your back. So as air comes in and out, your upper back moves, your shoulder blades move on your upper back. Like you're emerging slowly. Taking your time. And then I'll have you come onto your back. So from here, if you really ground your feet onto the floor and hold your shins, you can slowly roll down through the spine. Then holding the backs of the knees. Then you can hold your head. And a little cactus arms here. So the knees are bent. Cactus arms, a little gentle opening of the chest. We'll push into the left foot to lift the right knee. And then your low back and your sacrum should be stable here as you lift your left knee up. Hugging the knees in. We're going to go into happy baby. So either taking the hands behind the knees, to the shins, to the ankles, or to the outsides of the feet. And you are coaxing your thighs to the outsides of your ribs. Maybe you can bring the soles of your feet together over your face. This can also be really nice for the low back, but it can be strong, so listen to your body. Little rock side to side. So something that actual little babies do is they bring their thumbs towards their mouth. Bring their big toes towards their mouth. So see if you can start to encourage your big toe in the direction of your face. Really nice for the hips, really nice for the thighs, really nice for the low back. And switching legs. So you don't have to actually get your big toe in your mouth. Just heading it in that direction. Take a moment to do anything else your body is asking for. So maybe a supine twist. Or maybe you're ready for rest. listening to what your body's asking for. And then you can let yourself rest. Powering everything with an out breath. I just invite you to notice what happens on your out breath. So maybe the jaw softens a little on the out breath. Maybe the shoulders sink into the floor on the out breath. And then this slightly unusual idea of the armpits, letting the armpits soften into width. Lungs in your armpits and in your back. Letting your waist soften and move as air comes in and out of your body. Letting go in your tush. Letting your thigh muscles hang off of your thigh bones. Letting your feet dangle at the ankles instead of holding on to them. Giving your body up to gravity. When you're ready, you can start to move your fingertips and your toes. Bring your attention back into your body. Maybe rolling the ankles and the wrists. And a big yawn and stretch. Reaching your fingertips as far away from center as possible. Reaching your heels away from your body. Lengthening the back of the body. Yawning is a very holistic, visceral massage. And when you're ready, rolling to your side. As lazily as possible, you're going to walk yourself up to seated, but looking down towards the floor as you push yourself up and letting the back of your head aim across the room away from your shoulders so you don't crunch your neck. Finding your sits bones, and you want to let your weight come just a tiny bit forward so the spine is extended, you're not curling forward. With the palms facing up, that also helps to open the chest and extend the spine. We'll reach the fingertips away from center and up overhead. Bring the thumbs too in between the brow. And we'll bow down. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me and practicing with me. Namaste.